All right, knight f3. I don't think we've seen that opening so far. After e4, however, that's right. We're just going to transpose to a French here. French exchange. All right, so we've talked about the various setups. When I set up this knight c6, knight e7 setup, I like to start with bishop here because if he attacks my pawn, I want to be able to play knight e7. If my bishop's on f8, knight e7 looks silly. So, and if he checks me, knight e7 looks genius. Here we go. While I would normally want to do this in long castle, whenever I see this early check against my king here, I'm immediately thinking short castle, rook e8, ASAP. Just, you know, make some immediate threats. So I think I'm probably going to go for that idea here, especially because knight takes pawn here is currently a threat since it's pinned. So we're definitely going to castle short. Rook e8 pronto. Bishop g5. Again, I'm not seeing any reason not to go like that. The other thing is rook to e8. But I don't see why not start with that. So f6, bishop h4. Now after rook e8, I think he almost has to long castle. But the thing is, if I put my rook here, he will castle, right? Like almost for sure. If I play knight here, this looks like more of an attack on the bishop. So he might play bishop back. And then I can play rook to e8. Now that we've hit the bishop. So I think if I had started with the rook, he might have castled out of fear for the queen. But by starting with the knight, I'm basically making the same threat, but he won't really notice that. So we've created the threat in the most optimal way possible. Now, as far as the best move in this position, again, rook here, I think there might be pieces ending up on d4. So I want to make sure that we maximize, you know, the pieces we can win here. I still think if we take this, he's not necessarily castling out of trouble. Well, especially with the knight, I know for a fact that he can't. The knight takes, pawn takes, rook e8, knight e5. We take it. I'm not sure if we're guaranteed to get his queen. I'm trying to figure out the best way. I think it is going to be knight takes bishop. If bishop takes, he could castle. I'm only winning a piece there. If rook here, he's going to chuck some piece on e5, probably winning. The reason I think this one's the best is that it is a fork. I set up rook e8, and after knight e5, although pawn takes looks tempting, pawn takes, you know, he might castle. Pawn takes here, maybe queen h5, right? Little annoying. I think what's annoying for him to deal with here is actually bishop takes e5. Because now he's going to lose his queen if he takes. And if he castles, he's also going to lose his queen. The bishop f4 check. That's a pretty good move, honestly. Queen d3. I didn't think Buddy was going to find that one. Takes or takes, both possible. You know, he can run. He can play bishop e2. I'm pretty attracted to bishop d4. But then I see this move. And I'm like, you know, is king d1 very good? Because then our bishop's hanging. And we're not getting mated on queen h7, but it's like, it's still, you know, it's still my pawn there. And it's with check. I don't love it. Because if I take here and he blocks and I get to take there, I mean, that's great. But you can't count on your opponent to help you out like that. So I think honestly the best thing is just move my Move my bishop back. Say, you know what? Worth. We won a piece. Go me. That's all I've done today. Yeah, unfortunately, bishop takes, door knobbing. Doesn't do much for me. I lose that pawn on h7 with check still. And then he can react to my threat. All right, I think we want to go for some simplification. Bring the knight out. I like bringing the knight to f8. I think it's damn near might be necessary. Looking to trade a queen on e4. Please and thank you. I mean, any trades will be good here, especially a queen trade. Now the knight can't move because it's pinned there. We'll save the knight, the pawn, and the pawn all with one move. Feels good to do that. Okay. Should be a good sign. Trades on trades. Not going to be too greedy and try to win more pawns just yet. Knight d6 if b3, rook e8, and I know it hasn't looked that impressive so far, but believe me, our bishop on h6 will say hello once again this game. It's not permanently stuck. Right. Bring the knight in. Might be time for a g5 or a g6 move. And our bishop is going to breathe air into the position. Let's take that move under control. Oh. All right. Make sure we play d4 to give our king some room to advance. Push. The bishop has finally joined the chess game we're playing here. Finally. mating with the king. It's a true display of dominance. A good first game. I was impressed by my opponent's moves, believe me. Even though he was blundering at the beginning, I was impressed by his move, queen d3. He didn't lose his queen, and it looked like he should have. Or against Theo. The Germans are always tough. Always good players. That's what I find. So again, I'm sticking with e6. It's my opening against everything. My opponent here playing a very chill setup. Not really trying to take the center. What have I said? You know, just get out of the opening scot-free. Boom. We're already happy. I've seen people play openings that go a lot worse than this. Right? In the first 6 moves, anything can happen. Anything can happen. Take that. Knight c6. Okay, e5. How's a guy gonna say no to space? I mean, I like the position. I think it's nice and easy. We want to go for b5 here. He's doing the right thing. He's putting a knight on d3. So big shout out to this guy's understanding. Absolutely. I'm gonna go a6. I do want to play b5. f4, we'll just go here. f5, we're happy to drop back. But yeah, my position is all about b5, because if this pawn was here, he would be way more solid there. But it's on e2, so that right there, that's the tender spot. So we want to put the rook here. Here we go. b5 takes, knight takes c5, takes, and do I have anything useful I can do with that damn knight? Anything at all? Why do I feel like the answer is no? Why do I feel like the answer is no? I still think b5 is the right move. But yeah, I'm like trying to figure out what's the correct move there. All right, bishop f2. I think my opponent's getting into a bit of a pickle here. Let's take, and then let's play knight b4. Takes is going to open up a lot of pressure on this. Notice how both bishops, again, not doing anything. This bishop's just biting at granite. This bishop is biting on harder granite. And c4 looks like it's hanging here. So I think it's a tough thing to do, especially when you're starting out in chess, is attacking on the queen side. Because most people's brains are wired where it's like, look, if the king is the target, I understand a king side attack. I get it. But when there's no like target and you're just playing on the queen side to open space or like to create a weakness, I don't think that's very intuitive. And it doesn't feel as good. If you're attacking on the queen side and your opponent's attacking your king on the king side, you're like, dude, this is unfair. If my stuff is successful on the queen side, what do I get? Space? A pat on the back? What do you get? Checkmate. It's like, it's not fair. Except my pawns right now looking a little better than a pat on the back, I would say. We just want to go rook b2. Rook b1, I'll probably take it and go queen b5. Because look at these bishops, they're so bad at covering one of my passed pawns. If I trade these queens and rooks off the board, I mean, the game's just over almost immediately. Queen here, I think we'll go queen here. Again, want to trade, and then all the pawns will be hanging in the position as well. Yeah, so here is, I mean, I have to do, you know, some very, very basic calculation, but we're able to win here. So I can either go c2 and next move rook b1 and bishop a3, force him to take me. So something like c2, pawn takes, rook there, hitting the rook. I mean, what are you going to do as white? If you take me, you lose. You move your rook, I just trade and promote. So you have to play bishop e3. And then I go bishop a3. And again, it's like I'm forcing you to take me. So that's a win. And also d3. If rook takes pawn, something like d2. I'm threatening to queen. You know, you gotta like bring a bishop there or a rook there, and I give a check and a queen anyway. And I'll win at least a piece. So both of those seem winning. I imagine there's probably more stuff that's winning, but to me, c2 looks the cleanest. d3 wins maybe a piece. It seems to me like c2 wins a rook slash like might promote the pawn. So I'm liking it a little bit more. All right, bishop here. I think bishop c4 is probably the what's the word? The dagger. Probably the dagger. Bishop c4 takes, and we've got the same threat once again. Plus we're threatening d3. And after bishop c4, rook b1, we're also threatening that guy there. So I think bishop c4 is the way to do it. What did I say about the Germans? Tough chess players, all of them. Bishop takes, if king takes, rook here, bishop here, right? And if rook takes, rook here should be just as effective. Because it is pinned to the king, so he can't play rook takes c2 or anything like that. Yeah. And we'll basically win all his material here. I'll have an extra rook. And I'd like to think I can get the job done from here. We need to bring our king out. Usually good practice for an endgame. Usually what I like to do is just use my king to go take all the pawns. Like, the rook is doing a good job. It's keeping the king cut off. There's nothing more annoying than when you're trying to, let's say, pre-move a time scramble, and your opponent's king is like doing that, right? You know, you guys know what I'm talking about, right? King's like getting all in your business. It's like the board's flipping upside down while you're trying to pre-move a mate. So it's like, why not keep your life easy? Keep the king cut off. Just use your king. Take literally every pawn in sight. Keep the king cut off. And then you've got this wall of pawns that you can advance. And it's like, you're never going to mess that up. You ain't going to mess that up. GG, Theo. What happened in the opening? Oh yeah, this was the yeah, this was the G3 opening. Now, not much to say about E6 here. It didn't really turn into a French. My opponent didn't play E4. So it's not like I can talk much about this in terms of a French game. However, in terms of how the game went, yeah, it was all about playing on the queen side here. My opponent, I mean, this is a great maneuver. Like, I think white really knows what he's doing in terms of maneuvering. However, b5 is still a very nasty threat. And I don't think bishop here was right. I think he needed to maybe swing this rook over, but it's tough. Black is just a bit better, right? Double pawns here in the center are not making a good impression. We're still going. We're getting some high-rated opponents here. Less and less people playing e4. Okay, we're still playing e6 and d5. That's the general plan. I don't really know what a3 is all about. Peculiar. Again, I'm just looking to get castled, but I probably chose this move as opposed to bishop e7 because I'm seeing, like, you know, strange moves like that. a3 looks like a bit of a waste. Like, what the heck is that check, right? He just goes here. So I feel like he's bothered by bishop b4 and he doesn't really need to be. The structure is fantastic against the bishop on g2. It's really, really good. So if you can get it, great. Now after this, move a5. Looks like a good start. Takes, and then I have a great pawn structure, and my opponent kind of has a just a loose pawn on a3. Just maybe not the best. Queen or rook? Queen or rook? Go queen. Bishop f5, knight d7. Queen a6. Just to hit this pawn. Yeah, knight d7, h6 I want to play. Again, it's good to have a feel for your position. Make sure you have those moves mapped out. Those like next couple moves that you're gonna play. Well, in this case, he's defended that, but he has offered me a pawn there. I'm actually probably not gonna take it. I'm just gonna go here because I think that the dark square bishop is very valuable. But it's interesting that he defended his pawn by offering a different one. Very high energy. Okay. Unfortunately, if I don't have to give out my bishop though, there's nothing in the world that's gonna stop me from winning a pawn here. Takes here, takes here. Bishop back to d3, bishop f6, and if takes, bishop takes, hits my queen. So that line isn't anything special. I can definitely just take back. But again, yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure if that's any kind of advantage. Okay, I'll play queen e3. Offer a trade here. I'm up a pawn. Usually good practice to trade, first of all, anything. More importantly, queens. There's like a lurking idea of bishop there. It's not really that strong. I assume knight c3 will get played. I'm gonna play h5. There's no rook to b1, which he would love to do, I reckon. I'm gonna play rook a5, which looks like a strange move, but I don't really want him playing a5 and either a6 or getting knight a4 into some squares. And he's too hasty and does forget that my bishop is actually covering b1 from f5. He's actually going to resign after that, so we'll take it. Good game. It is. It is going to be our 1400 game. Let's go for e6, c4. If my opponent is a true d4 player. But e4, if he has the opinion, hey, the French sucks, well, let's see what line he's got against it. The advance, very common. And again, so far in this entire speedrun, we've seen the advance a lot, but I've never seen it played well. And I say that bluntly. I've never seen it played well. People always play c3, and they got this great pawn chain, but they always blunder one of those pawns in like the next couple moves. It just always happens. So I'm just gonna play the sort of standard moves here. Queen b6, and let's see. Let's see if they can hold it together. This guy's a 1460, so he's for sure the highest rated player that I can remember playing the French against, who's used the advanced variation. But yeah, that's why the French, I think, is a great opening at lower elo, because you know you immediately get this great pressure on the position. He goes queen d2, definitely a bad move. Like taking the knight square, the bishop's diagonal. There's nothing about that move that looks good. I'm just gonna go bishop d7, rook c8. Proceed from here. Yeah, queen d2 looks really bad, but if I want to say one good thing about it, he didn't lose a pawn. He's actually the only guy that's managed to hang on to a pawn for more than a couple moves. Then the one nice thing about this is knight h6. I no longer have to deal with bishop takes, so I kind of get my knight into f5 nicely. That's good. Get the knight into f5, hit the d pawn. So I'm torn between that, and I'm also definitely looking at ideas with takes, bishop b4. There is always knight c3, so no, we're not like winning as queen or anything like that straight away. So I'm thinking knight h6 looks like a nice plan. I've seen a lot of people react to knight h6 with knight a3 because they want their knight on c2 when my knight gets to f5. But knight a3 has, you know, drawbacks of its own. I mean, b3 has drawbacks of its own. That's for sure. I don't see, again, guys, I don't think he's surviving without losing a pawn here. I just don't believe it. I think we are gonna see a blunder. Well, I think it's already happened. So we'll take b3. Again, is a move to seriously avoid in this opening. So we'll make a threat against this pawn. Has to guard it with bishop b2. And then I'm just gonna throw in bishop b4, and it's like, you know, pretty much whatever you do on that square, you're gonna end up losing this pawn. So when I take this, by the way, yes, I can start with this, but I generally like to take with this knight so that if he did castles or something, then I still have this knight available to do something like that and take the e-pawn. Like this knight is attacking both, this knight's only attacking one. So if I'm gonna trade a pair of knights, I'd rather start with my f5 knight, the knight that arguably is doing less. This move looks like a big blunder. Knight takes b3. And again, the French, I have gotten some of my easiest wins in the speedrun with the French. No one can hang on to, remember the pawn structure? b2, c3, d4, e5, remember that? I've won 3 of those pawns. Or at least I've gotten rid of 3 of those pawns. Probably the last one is falling as well. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. I think probably takes here. I don't like being this greedy, but I think it's statement here. It's like, sure, you got castled on move 15, but at what cost? You're missing your entire queenside set of pawns, right? Every single one. You know, this can't be it. This can't be it. Let's bring my bishop back. Back to safety. If I castled, I might have to deal with knight g5. Wasn't terribly interested in doing that. Here I'm actually going to do something strange. I'm going to play knight here because I can support it with my pawn. So I'm basically going to put that in his way, so he's always dealing with a knight on b4. Pretty annoying for him, in my opinion. Yeah, he's kept his e-pawn in the French, but at what cost? The exchange, you know, 4 queenside pawns. Just gonna lend support to that knight. It's not like it was being threatened. Like, I'm still defending it twice, but just good practice to overprotect it. You know, his knight doesn't have any specific inroads that it can make. Knight b5. Interesting. I think it's time to get the heck out of Dodge. We'll get castled. Not too concerned about that. So how do we want to continue this? Thinking f6 might kind of accelerate the opening of the position. If takes, I am going to take this way. It does lose a pawn here, but might actually help me in terms of getting things simplified. Because I'm up what? Like, I feel like I'm up a bunch of pawns. I think we can unleash rook takes c3 here, followed by pawn takes e5. And it just looks good. I mean, I just don't know how you're going to save this, this, and this all at once. You got 2 knights hanging. I've got a mass amount of pawns, 4 extra pawns here. And although I'm temporarily down a piece, it's not for long. Yeah, we can win this, but I think this one is better. Like, better to win that piece, because then we're also threatening checkmate. I wish I could mate him right away, but the way the pieces are lined up, it actually prevents that, so. Take this, we're threatening rook f1 mate. We're also threatening a free piece on b5. So something like h3. And then what I might do is rook f1, trade, and go win that piece. I think we kind of got the job done there. Not too bad at all. All right, we're covering the h2 square. So now there's real threats. e4, knight there, right? And then knight f2 mate, essentially. That's what I'm intending. That's what I'm intending. Go here. It's not quite mate on f2, but let's go for this jack. Maybe d4. I think the d pawn is actually the one we can push all the way here. Nice. GG. Nice, nice, nice. Jobby Head, thanks for the 2 months. subscribed. Indeed you are. Thank you, Jobby. Yeah, the capture, promotion, mate, all at once. Feels good. Feels good. Again, this was a French, and this went as well as it could. Like, yeah, this is a good sign here. We have the knight f5 move coming. You just can't stop it. Like, so he needs something else here. Like, he needs to just castle and maybe be comfortable taking on c5, something like that, you know, or bring a rook to d1. But this is what I'm saying. I haven't really found anyone who can really keep their center together. And the French advance seems to be like the really popular opening at lower elo. I don't know why. I don't know if there's like a video series out there that's saying, hey, play this. Because I really don't know if there is, because it definitely feels like everyone's doing it for a reason. Maybe it's because it gains space, like it looks menacing, like you're just going up the board. I don't know. But everyone does it, but no one can handle Black's most basic theoretical response, right? Like in 4 seconds, you could learn these moves to just pressure the center. Like that's just what you do. And then maybe the idea of this to follow. And with that alone, I've won almost all my French games. So I'm just saying, seems like a real serious weapon to use. French advance and French exchange are super, super common. If you know how to handle those two openings, there are other ways to respond to the French, but I haven't seen them much below 1500. So this seems like a pretty good weapon to climb with. And we're 1400. Yay. We hit 1400, 1401. Not bad, not bad. Did it with a pretty nice game in the French. Once again, taking out our opponent's center. One pawn at a time, it feels like. One pawn at a time. That's right, Kevin Richardson. That's right, buddy. A giraffe to celebrate. Hey, no worries, burnt tuna. That's what I'm here for. I think you can learn a thing or two if you're paying attention during these speed runs. Especially, we're probably at the most instructive rating range, you know, 12, 1300 to 1500 or so. So we're at 1400, just crested the 1400 barrier. We're definitely going to continue here. I'm just going to take a short break, refill, bathroom break, an ad. People have been demanding it. I've been saying, look, wait, we got to play at least an hour and a half of chess before we run an ad. Fine. I'll run one now. All right. Luis. Are we going to get a French here? Well, somewhat. Luis is a speedster, eh? I'm gonna go for our knight e7, knight c6 setup. Hopefully you guys remember it. Queen d7, f6, maybe long castle. Here I'm already looking at knight takes d4, and I think my opponent may have made a mistake, because that looks quite good. Can't allow that. He needed to play like c3 or something. Yeah, I mean it's a free pawn and it's a central pawn, so I'm always gonna take it and say thank you very much. But it's only a pawn. The game's, you know, far from over. We're gonna get castled, stick to our plan here. As tempting as this may be, I do not believe it's the right move. Let's trade bishops. Rook takes here, we got bishop takes. Queen takes, we got bishop h2. Can't be falling for those basic tricks. And this bishop I mean, if you go there, you're losing a pawn, so I'm not sure how he's gonna get out of this, honestly. All right, he's taking the plunge. Now, the funny thing about this is he might actually save his like bishop, like not lose a pawn, but he will be at what cost, right? Because now you're wide open over here for some H-file business. So let's see if he can survive this. Yeah, that's right. He's not so fast anymore, is he? Once things get a little bleak. I really think that bishop c5 here is, you know, not a crazy move, but allowing something to e7 doesn't feel right. Let's start with this. Takes, we'll just take it back. Whoa, I thought 1000% he'll do that. Well, I can't believe it, but yeah, I guess this. There's no mate. Like here, rook e8, he has queen f3 to stop that checkmate. Check. I mean, he goes here. Like, it's a great position for me, but it's not mate. I'm kind of liking check, because we get to take this with check. And I'm not seeing much better than that, so I'm gonna go for that. Queen h3, queen takes g4 check. The other thing is after king here, I could play d4. D4 would be really painful. I now like this, question mark. Yeah. D4 looks like a good place to start. Okay, so what happens after check here? Or check here. Or check here. Okay, I got too many options. Okay, d3 doesn't look like anything. Rook check here. King only has one move on the board. Take, double check. King goes here. Rook takes, just wins material. So that's completely winning. That's completely winning. This one, king here loses. King here, that almost looks more winning. That almost looks more winning. Although it's close, actually. It's close. Yeah, everything looks winning here, actually. Stick to the basics. This one was all with checks, which is nice. Nice and easy to calculate. Check. And it's protected by the queen. King here, those are both with check. So king c2 is the only move to me that makes any sense. And we just take this. This should be pretty convincing. Should be convincing. Let's see if it is. Rook a6 to defend. We got this rook taking care of some checks. All right. Get a safe pre-move in. So I like to move b5 here because it puts the king in a stalemate, and then all I do is check him and win, right? The only thing you have to double check is to make sure that he can't sack his rook, but he has a move here, so I know that even if he does this, it's not going to be stalemate. Now, we basically just need to wait because as soon as the pawn moves, again, no matter what it is, rook e5 mate will be available. But in the meantime, let's threaten another checkmate so that we know we're meeting for sure. He's just one move away from a stalemate, sadly. It's like, if only I didn't have this pawn, I'd be winning easily. Now it's a take your pick. And you don't want to get fancy and take this, because then rook b8 comes and it's like, oops. GG to Luis. We've reached the halfway point of this 14 to 1500 run. 1450, there we go. What's up, Aiden? Hello to the iceberg. Hello to Azizi. Plebs are here. That's right. We've decided to try a system where we live amongst them, get used to their, you know, mating patterns and their routines. Try to understand them. Yeah, that's exciting. I mean, I know it's hard work and definitely kind of stressful and annoying, Aiden, but it's exciting, always exciting to be somewhere new, because hopefully, for most people, when you're in a new place, it's, you know, it's like an upgrade. And it feels like a fresh start. Any proud pleb here? Cross 24X, are you representing the plebs yourself? You're a previous sub, I see. Previous sub. But you're gifting subs to other plebs. Are you trying to have them join the ranks? Very generous. Yes. A masked, you know, Robin Hood figure. Well, that's good stuff, Aiden. Good stuff, buddy. Oh, Lally is doing some sniping as well. Cross 24X, gifting a sub, but getting gifted themselves. That's right, Cross 24X. You're now a member of the other side. part of the subscribers. So is Carnaldo. Welcome, welcome. The pleb numbers are dwindling. They're dwindling. Part of the other side. How does it feel? Let's get another game. Okay, are we gonna get a advanced French here? Exchange? Those are the two we see the most. I have seen 0 92 French positions, I think. No Tarrasch. I've seen a few win hour, but like almost none. And I've mostly seen exchange in advance. And every time I see them, position looks good. And there's two setups I like against the French exchange. One of them is, and it's always good to know how to do this, just your really standard, like obvious setup, you know? Woohoo. It's good to know this one. And then the other one is wow, F4. Holy smokes there, bud. Holy smokes there, bud. Well, I actually feel that this is kind of a decent move here. Even though there's this. I have this move, but also I can even just take the knight back, hit the knight. It looks like that's really rough for me, but I have threats on both sides of the board here. I got people looking to say hello. Here, or first give a check maybe. Check looks good. 92, I can still take that pawn, so. Even though I got double isolated pawns over there, guys, don't sleep on my position here. His king can't really castle. If I were him, I would try to go here and here, and he does that. But when he does that, I will always, 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 always have queen e3 to trade the queens. So, because that's the case, I'm just gonna go here. Castles, bishop takes knight, and it's like, hey buddy, you know, I'm sorry to say, if you're trying to avoid a queen trade, I've got this move, right? That's what's really frustrating. You wanted to avoid a queen trade, and guess what you did? You avoided trading queen for queen. Now you're trading queen for bishop. Because queen d3 was an option and probably the move he had to play, but you could tell that he wasn't interested. And FYI, bishop h7, king h7, he still couldn't win my queen because he was pinned. Now it's a threat, but we'll make sure to step out of this one. We'll just jump right on out of that one. Let's go queen e3. In that, okay, I'm not sure I'm really taking on g3, but at least it is a threat. And yeah, we probably want to get the knight involved or something. Let's think here. g5 coming. Let's go here and trade a pair of rooks. That should make things a lot easier. Just easier to manage, you know? Takes, rook takes doesn't look great. King takes loses to that. And this one, at least we can pick up pawn with check. And then I'll go h5. So he wants to find a way to make this work. Problem is, even if he does, he's still losing. So he doesn't have a very nice task, but I think he's probably going to go here and get ready with rook here so that he thinks that he's got our queen with rook to g1, but we would take it and go checkmate. So we're ready for him. We're ready for him. Here. And he can't really keep both pieces. There we go. Good game. Yeah, two main setups you need to know against the French exchange, I would say. Everyone should have like the very basic, you know, knight out, bishop out, castle. At least be able to play that one. And then I like the other one, knight c6, bishop d6, knight e7. And that one's a little more double-edged. e6. This is most likely another exchange. I'll go for the other setup this time. I only really have two, but our opponent plays something which is new. You know, you don't see too many people playing this. I'm gonna take it. Go knight f6. Look to castle. Our opponent has an isolated pawn, but very active position. He also developed his bishop in one move as opposed to, you know, here and taking back. So there are a lot of good points about his position. I don't like dealing with this pin too much. But similarly, bishop g4 is kind of annoying for white as well. Ooh, this one looks like a free pawn. I know it's not much, but hey, we'll take it. One pawn. I mean, yeah, anytime your opponent's just leaving a piece in the middle there, undefended, gotta be taken. Ain't much, but it's honest work, buddy. Yeah, absolutely. Now, queen takes is decent. It's gonna give me a great advantage in an endgame. But when I see a position like this, I see his queen unable to get out of this pin. I see queen h5. I see rooks like maybe lifting to the g file. I see checkmate. So I'm looking for a little bit more than just a free pawn here. I'll admit that rook c5 is slightly annoying. That's like a kind of move. Let's have a think here. Okay, let's go rook d8. Rook c5. I think we have a move here. Takes, and knight e5. I should win a pawn here, is what I'm relying on. If I played b6 there, I didn't like, you know, opportunities for him to put pressure on my knight, which looked a little bit weak. So that's why I didn't do that. Instead, I saw this, which I saw was winning a pawn, so I just kind of went for it. I also know that the endgame is going to be winning, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to be getting it. So bishop f4. I thought we would get bishop f4, bishop c6, rook takes. And although I'm only up one pawn there, 3 pawns against 2, he'll never make a pass pawn with my opposite color bishop. And then over here, I can push those. So I was looking forward to playing that. We didn't get it though. Rook e7, king f8. And okay, if we have him moving away, that's a good sign. f6. Again, when you have opposite bishops in an endgame, you almost always want your pawns same color as the bishop when they're advancing. So I have two connected pawns here. The mistake would be for me to do something like f5 and g4. Because then he just goes bishop f4 and it's like, what am I even doing there? I can't move them. So what I want to do is like bring my king here, protect that, then go f5, then go f4, bring my king here, then go g4, then go g3. That's how they should be advanced. Always on the same color as the opponent's bishop. Because that way my pawns control all the dark squares and my bishop controls all the light squares. So we'll go f4. Go king f5. Guard the pawn. Then we'll go g4 and not f3, but g3. You see how the bishop and the pawns just control every square possible. I mean, king g4 is a great move, but I actually really like king f4, so that even if he uses his bishop to stop that square, I'm going to take his rook at the end. So rare case where I would go there instead of maybe like that. But yeah, I'm threatening f2 and bishop here and queen, which will be checkmate. Very tough to stop as well. And yeah, literally, like without this rook on the board, I think this position would still be winning. And you see how we took those pawns, we advanced them like all the way up the board without really doing anything. And it seemed quite easy. This is the move we were hoping for, of course. Checkmate, checkmate. I mean, this is gonna be cruel. Especially because I'm like, you know, I'm sadistic. So now that I've got him in this position, he's in trouble. We couldn't possibly get to 1500 without our favorite error message once again. Can go ahead and pre-move this. And we will go e5. Again, this looks like a French exchange angle. How many times are we seeing this, right, guys? It's non-stop. Knowing how to play against the French exchange is worth so much. It is the most common, for sure. E7, f6. Queen d3 is a bit of an odd move. But yeah, we want to push the pawns over here. Long castle, but sometimes I wait with long castling because if I'm not feeling any pressure in the middle or any need to go like that, it's like, okay, why don't I just start rolling the pawns immediately? I might even consider b6 here, just to kill that idea, but realistically, that's not the move I should be doing. I think there's probably a lot of value in going here, because the likelihood he plays here is pretty high, and that would lose his queen. You know, this feels lame, and going to d1 doesn't feel good. That's where you started. That's not a good move. Why not pin the knight? Of course. Great idea. Or this. Yeah, this move also works. And when I say works, I mean works for me. Because now I'm going to say, okay, where you going, bud? right? Oh, did I blunder that? Oh, he thinks that rook b8 traps the queen, but it doesn't because of queen a6. Well, funny thing about the queen trap is you can do it two ways. Rook a7 gets the job done. So I definitely expect him to chuck a piece into the abyss here with knight c5. You know, I mean, takes and queen back seems like the only way to escape. So he's done it, and we can take here and play like that, or we could take this and just basically bring the bishop back. I will almost always advocate for trading queens, so like that, but in this case, I'm curious if dropping the a pawn is a big deal or not. Seems like something we don't really want to allow, but getting the queens off the board is such a nice feeling. Takes, rook b6. Maybe we can keep attacking. Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay. We'll go h4. And I'm thinking that the g4 is the sauce here. Takes, knight e5, knight takes e5 to guard the bishop. Important. Because it looks like a decent move, right? Take this with check, but I think knight takes e5 is good for me. Getting this rook over to the G file will be quite helpful. The thing is, knight e5 is, I mean, it's not really a tactic, even if I even if I take it, it's only a piece for a piece. So it's not even like it really wins anything, but it would still be like a reasonable try. Exactly, walk it. And that's why I was pointing out that this isn't really a tactic, because like he can go b5, but believe me, he doesn't want to. He wants to play a4, a5, nice solid pawn structure, pawns on dark squares, bishop on light square, right? He doesn't want his pawns on the same colors as bishop. We just talked about that. Then I would get that knight a5 blockade. So if he wants to do this move, which is not a tactic, it's really just a piece trade, he's going to have to move his pawns in a way he doesn't really want to. So it's like, is whatever this is that valuable that you want to mess up your pawns? I don't know. We made it to the end of another video on the French defense. I hope you learned something. Leave a comment down below. What did you think was the most important thing to remember from this video? Subscribe if you haven't already, and a reminder to click that bell to turn on post notifications so you don't miss our next video.